In the intricate world of monetary policy, it seems like the Federal Reserve is navigating through choppy waters with a compass that's acting a bit wonky. There's a sense of uncertainty and, dare I say, a bit of confusion in the messages they're sending out. So, let's start with the talk of the town: expected rate cuts. The Federal Reserve is hinting at cutting rates in the future, but Powell's statement is throwing a bit of a curveball. He suggests that the current interest rates are probably the highest they'll go. Now, that's like saying we're going to turn down the heat in the house, but we're already wearing 3 sweaters. What gives? Alright, let's dive into the tools they use. The federal funds effective rate is hanging out at 5.33%, and the target range is between 5.25% and 5.5%. It's like a game of musical chairs, but the music has slowed down, and everyone is eyeing the last chair nervously. This rate influences overnight cash needs, basically, how much it costs for banks to borrow from each other overnight. Now, enter the reverse repo market, the new kid on the block. It's like the repo market's cousin. In the repo market, the Fed buys securities, and in the reverse repo market, it's selling them. Balance sheets get a mention here. The Federal Reserve's balance sheet has been growing through a process called quantitative easing, QE. They're buying mortgage-backed securities and U.S. Treasuries like they're going out of style. It's like the Fed is on a shopping spree, but instead of bags, they're carrying trillions of dollars in assets. Quantitative tightening, QT, is the opposite. It's the process of shrinking that balance sheet. It's like the Fed is saying, alright, let's put some stuff back on the shelf. This dance with the balance sheet has an impact on interest rates, both short-term and long-term. It's like trying to balance a seesaw, but the weights keep changing. Now, let's talk about the yield curve, which is currently looking like a roller coaster. It's steeply inverted, meaning short-term rates are higher than long-term rates. This isn't the usual script, and it's causing some raised eyebrows. Rate cuts and QT are like two opposing forces doing tug-of-war with the yield curve, and we're all caught in the middle. And then there's the reverse repo facility, where we've seen a decline from $2.3 trillion to $683 billion. It's like someone pulled the plug in the bathtub, and we're wondering if the water is going to start draining too fast. This could have an impact on short-term rates, and that's something to keep an eye on. Now, Treasury buybacks. It's like the U.S. Treasury is buying back its own IOUs. Imagine if you borrowed money from a friend, and then they bought back the IOU they gave you. It's a bit of financial gymnastics, but it helps maintain stability in the market. But here's the kicker: there's talk of potential economic consequences. We're looking at a list that includes recession, stock market correction, or even a bear market. It's like looking at a storm on the horizon and wondering if we've got enough shelter. Historical patterns are showing that changes in the yield curve are often accompanied by an increase in unemployment. It's like a warning sign blinking on the dashboard. In the grand scheme of things, the Federal Reserve is dealing with a complex puzzle. They're trying to balance short-term and long-term rates, keep the economy humming along, and avoid pitfalls like recessions and market meltdowns. It's like walking on a tightrope over a canyon filled with economic uncertainty. The likelihood of unconventional measures being pulled out of the toolbox is increasing. Think of it like a superhero using their secret weapon when the usual powers aren't cutting it. It's a sign that the Fed is feeling the pressure and might need to get creative. So, buckle up, folks. We're in for a bumpy ride. The Federal Reserve is playing a high-stakes game, and we're all along for the roller coaster. Let's just hope they've got a steady hand on the wheel and a good map to navigate these uncharted waters. Please consider liking, subscribing, and sharing with friends to support our content. The information is for general purposes. Viewers should conduct research and consult professionals for financial decisions.